I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpm.fm to discover more.
It's Susan Blackwell from The Spark File, your one-stop shop for creativity, and we have got a question for you. Are you ready to experience the most creative time of your life? If you answered hell's yes, Susan, well, get excited because we are thrilled to announce that the doors are open for the new Spark File Creative Community. For years, we've been hearing from creatives like yourself who long for creative support and community, but they don't have the time or resources to invest in a longer form course with us. Today, we're excited to announce we've heard you and answered your call, and the doors are now open for the SparkFile Creative Community, a space where you can gently prioritize your creative work, meet other kick-ass creatives, and cultivate a consistent creative practice. With Sparkish daily prompts, weekly creativity labs, and monthly coaching sessions, you'll experience real creative consistency and momentum. You know, around the SparkFile, we've always said, smart creatives don't go it alone. Having the right group of people around us can provide a reason to show up for ourselves and our creativity. Visit thesparkfile.com to learn more about the SparkFile Creative Community. Take advantage of low introductory pricing and enjoy a free 14-day trial. That's right. You can try the SparkFile Creative Community for free. Visit thesparkfile.com now. We cannot wait for you to join the SparkFile Creative Community and enjoy the most creative time of your life.
We all have that dream trip we've been wishing we could go on, but too often life, or usually price, gets in the way. That's why Priceline is here to help you turn your dream trip into reality. With up to 60% off hotels and up to 50% off flights, you can book everything you need for your next adventure. Don't just dream about that next trip. Book it with Priceline. Download the Priceline app or visit Priceline.com and book your next trip today.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
The SparkFile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Welcome to the Spark File, where we believe that everyone is creative, but smart creative people don't go it alone.
I'm Laura Camion.
And I'm Susan Blackwell, and we are creativity coaches who help people clarify and accomplish their creative goals.
You should know that just by listening to this podcast, you are joining a warm and wonderful clan of creatives.
But hold up, you may be asking yourself, what exactly is a Spark File?
A Spark File is a place where you consistently collect all of your inspirations and fascinations. Every episode, we're going to reach into our very own Spark Files and exchange some sparks. And from time to time, we might even talk to some folks who spark us too.
And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take some of these sparks of inspiration and make something of your own. So without further ado, let's open up the Spark File. Laura Camion.
Susie Blackwell.
How you doing over there?
I'm pretty good. You know, the ups and
good.
I know the ups and downs of the everyday these days, but you know, happy, healthy, alive and well. So lots to be grateful for.
This is what we're focusing on. Gratitude.
That's right. That is what we are clinging to on the daily.
Can I interest you in a tasty spark?
I will take a hot, fresh spark, please.
I've got one for you.
I'm so excited. Serve it up. Serve it up.
I am very, very excited to share this spark.
Oh.
And before I launch into what I think of as a very important spark, not to blow sunshine up my own spark, but
this is like the VIP of sparks. Okay, clear the way and roll out the red carpet.
I think this is going to hopefully be useful to more people than just me.
Oh, good.
And I also want to underscore, I am not a doctor. Laura is not a doctor.
True fact.
This podcast is not dispensing medical advice.
No, we are not.
And this conversation is for entertainment purposes only. So that being said.
Oh, I'm so glad you clarified that.
So several years back, I was not feeling great. I wasn't sure why. My joints ached. I was fatigued all the time. I'd get a full night's sleep, but I'd wake up feeling so very tired. I felt anhedonic, which is a reduced ability to feel pleasure. My cognition felt compromised, and it took me a while to get a diagnosis and treatment. And it turns out, friends, it was a combo platter of things. It was a few tick-borne illnesses, a little bit of menopause, a condition called POTS, which makes it difficult sometimes for blood to get up to my brain.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that part.
Oh, yes. I've had that since I was little. That's why I'm a fainting goat. I faint from time to time, subway stairs, church pews.
I have never known that.
Yes.
That's a good thing to know when we're out and about and we're doing things together. You might faint.
Laura, have I ever told you how I used to joke with Jeff Bowen and Hunter Bell? They would kid me that one of my greatest aims in life was to do a production of Whose Life Is It Anyway, where I could simply be in a hospital bed through the whole thing.
Oh, no.
Now I know it's not because I'm lazy. It's POTS. It's that I have a hard time standing for long periods of time. And if I stand on the subway, if I am standing in a church service, I will faint.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is good to know. Let us all be fairly warned.
Yeah. And if you have always had a little bit of a faint in your life, maybe you have POTS. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is for entertainment purposes only. So all that being said, I'm so happy to report that I have been successfully diagnosed and treated, and I'm back, baby.
You're back. You're back in a big way.
But during that time when I wasn't feeling well, I mainly did two things. Essentially, I worked, and when I wasn't working, I rested. And I also tried to keep up with the laundry and a few other chores, but I didn't have much energy for anything else. And during that time, when my defenses were so down, I think I can confidently say that I got addicted to scrolling TikTok.
I was going to say, I think those were your TikTok days.
Those were my TikTok days.
TikTok days.
It took minimal energy. I could just sit or lay on the couch or in bed and scroll. And it felt like I was engaging with the world, kind of. But it got to the point where I would scroll and scroll and scroll until a post would pop up. The post would be like, "You've been scrolling for a while now. It's time to take a break. Let's take a breath together." And the first time that happened, I threw my phone.
Oh, God.
I was so startled.
Those are the true heroes of social media. The ones that take the time to post, "Hey, why don't you put the phone down?"
It's posted by TikTok.
No.
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow. How long do you need to be on there before they give you that?
I looked it up. It varies, but they're not the hero of the story.
No, they're not.
Let's not give them too much credit.
I take that back. I was thinking of the regular people, and I don't do TikTok, but on Instagram, that'll take a post and just be like, "Hey, why don't it's their personal post. Why don't you put your phone down?" And I'm like, you know what? You're right.
Wow.
Thank you.
I love it.
Done.
Maybe we'll do that for this episode.
Yeah.
Just a tile that says, "Put your phone down."
Put your phone down.
So back to me and TikTok, I felt like Mary Tyrone in Long Day's Journey into Night. And if you don't know that reference,
Oh, God.
Long Day's Journey into Night is an autobiographical play by Eugene O'Neill. And in it, the mother character, Mary Tyrone, from time to time drifts to the upstairs guest room where she indulges in her morphine addiction.
Oh,
and I
God.
felt like I would do this, but with TikTok. I would be like,
God.
I'm going to go upstairs. I'd get under the electric blanket, maybe grab a puppy or two, and then just, Laura, hours and hours of scrolling on TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever knew. I think you were like drinking alone. I don't think I knew. how bad. I knew you were on TikTok a lot because you were always like, and then I saw this on TikTok and that.
I read a thing.
Yeah.
That's code for I saw it on TikTok.
I know where you saw it. I know where you read it.
I have to say, throughout my life, I have prided myself on not really having an addictive personality. I never took up smoking. I never did weed. I don't drink alcohol. But if I'm honest with myself, in my 50s, in my phone, that's where I got. And that's where I met my little addiction.
But as you know, it's by design.
Girl.
And they now have the power to, like, it's more powerful than any of the drugs you mentioned.
We're going to get into it.
I know.
So I shared all of this with my sister, Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Thank you, Julie. Julie recommended a book to me, Dopamine Nation by Dr. Anna Lemke.
Yes.
Anna Lemke is a professor of psychiatry and addiction medicine at Stanford University School of Medicine. And in her book, Dopamine Nation, Dr. Lemke explains that dopamine is a chemical that has been identified as essential for the experience of pleasure, reward, and motivation. She stresses that when we talk about dopamine addiction, that's not really accurate. We are not actually getting addicted to dopamine itself. Dopamine is not addictive. Dopamine is a signal. And ultimately, dopamine is really more about motivation than it is about pleasure or reward. She describes this famous experiment where rats were bred to not have dopamine receptors. And if you take a rat who has no dopamine receptors, a rat who typically eats and enjoys food, and you put the food just a little further away from the rat, like the length of a rat's body, these rats without dopamine receptors will starve to death before they will take the few steps to get to the food and eat it. They will starve to death.
Wow.
So,
because they have no motivation to do so. They're just like, meh.
Correct.
Meh.
You got it, Laura.
I probably should eat, but
But instead, I'm just a little rat scrolling on TikTok. But that's what Dr. Lemke means when she says dopamine seems tied to motivation, and that we need dopamine to be motivated to do the work in order to get our rewards. And if we didn't have dopamine or dopamine receptors, we wouldn't care. And just like those little ratlets, we would sit around and we would die.
Wow.
Laura, do you know this feeling, or do you have your version of this feeling when you can't stop scrolling? Do you have anything like that where you're like, I can't put down this book, or I can't put down this whatever?
I mean, I occasionally get stuck in the scroll. I'm pretty aware of it pretty quickly. But at the hour mark, I'll be like, what the fuck? And like an hour of my life, like what's happening? Yeah.
And how do you know it's been an hour? Are you setting
I'll just look at my phone, like
you look at your
my
clock.
phone and be like, wait a minute, what? It's 8:30. How did that happen? And then I'll just be kind of, frankly, annoyed with myself. I'm like, that was a colossal waste of time.
Yeah.
So just that, like, I feel that. I'm not immune to that, no. But I also feel like I've never like had that addictive personality, except for that time that I had back surgery, and that Vicodin was so good.
We've all got our little thing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So friends, if you know that feeling when you can't stop scrolling, that's dopamine at work. And it's not about the pleasure itself. It's about the wanting and the anticipation. In the book, Anna Lemke talks about her own addiction to romance novels.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So her gateway drug was reading the book Twilight, which she read. And then she read the whole Twilight series and then reread them. And that was the gateway to a whole world of romantasy, which is romantic fantasy. And then somewhere along the way, she got herself a Kindle, she said, so her husband could think she was reading a classy classic when she was really reading a bodice ripper. She said the quality of the writing didn't matter. She just needed to get her fix. And she wasn't aware that she was getting into an addictive pattern. She started staying up later and later at night reading. She would go to work at Stanford bleary and exhausted because she had not gotten enough sleep due to all the romantasy reading she was doing. She took less and less joy in the things that previously had given her pleasure, her marriage, her family, her work.
Actual romance and actual sex.
Yes. She
Wow.
became more irritable, anxious, and depressed. And again, I think this is important. She didn't see the link between her romantasy reading and the progressive deterioration of her own mental health. And she is an addiction specialist.
Was she just thinking like, damn, these are good books. I can't put these down.
I think at first she was like, that gave me a thrill. And
Mhm.
then she was seeking a thrill that was as thrilling or slightly more thrilling.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to be super clear when I say she could not see that link and she's an addiction specialist. That's
Mhm.
no shade to her. I say that to point out how elusive and mind scrambling this stuff can be.
Yeah.
And also, I feel you, Dr. Lemke. While I wouldn't say that scrolling TikTok for a couple hours a day was the source of my fatigue, joint pain, and cognitive issues, I chalk that up to Lyme disease. I don't think that scrolling digital media was helping my mental health.
Yeah, it didn't help.
The super bummer, creatively speaking, is that any time and capacity I would have had to create something for the pleasure of creating was taken up with watching lots of videos of other people creating. That is what my algorithm was largely serving me, is other people making and sharing their work, which is a real kick in the pants.
I mean, there is a time and a place for it. Like, it can be inspiring,
Yeah.
and it can give you new ideas,
Yes.
and also then walk away so that you can make your own shit.
Come into real life.
Mhm.
Dr. Lemke is careful, and I want to be very careful too, not to trivialize life-threatening addictions by comparing them to my experience with social media, her experience reading romantasy.
Mhm.
For someone whose addiction puts them at risk of life-threatening withdrawal, things like alcohol, opioids, etc., those folks need to seek a medical professional.
Now I'm feeling bad about making a joke about Vicodin.
Why?
Just saying, because it's an incredibly addictive.
No, but that's your real experience.
It is, but I didn't mean to make light of it.
I didn't take that lightly.
Okay.
I actually, the way I interpreted it sincerely is that that was one time when it brushed up against you where you were like, oh goodness.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because prior to that, I'm a very empathetic person, but I did not have a lot of empathy for addiction. I didn't understand, like, I tried some things, but I'm like, it's nothing great about this.
Yeah.
Until Vicodin, and Vicodin convinced me, not only was the pain gone, but everything is going to be okay. And I was like, well, I could get real addicted to this feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I suddenly had a wider perspective and much more understanding and empathy for people who slid into it.
Yeah. What hooks you? And it is different for everybody. And if you've never been hooked, bless.
Yes.
So even though we want to leave those conversations about alcohol, opioids, Vicodin, etc., to the medical professionals, I think this conversation is important for all of us because, as Laura just pointed out, to expand our empathy, but also we all have reward pathways. We have these neural networks that drive motivation by releasing dopamine. And therefore, we are all vulnerable to addiction, especially living in what Dr. Lemke calls a drugified world, where we have instant, easy access to all kinds of substances and behaviors, including things that previously we wouldn't have considered addictive. Modern life has rewired our brains to make addiction more common. Dr. Lemke says your brain has been hijacked by a world of endless, frictionless pleasures. We've all become more vulnerable to the problem of addiction. And she stresses anyone can get addicted, even her, an addiction doctor.
That's right. 100%.
So let's back up. How did we get here? The basis of all of this is evolutionary. Dopamine is a survival neurotransmitter that signals this is something you need for your survival. Now go get it right now. So those things in like caveman days used to be food, clothing, shelter, finding a mate. Now we can access those things more readily, relatively speaking. And we don't necessarily have to work as hard for our own survival. And through the application of science and technology, the things that we have been turned into drugs. They have been made more accessible, more potent, more bountiful, and more novel. And in our modern world, we can easily access this blast of dopamine. So we need more of our drug and more forms of drugs in order to not only feel good, but to just feel baseline normal. And sometimes when we're not using, we're in pain. Dr. Lemke says this may explain the rising rates of anxiety, depression, and despair that we're seeing in ourselves and all around us. She says there's a wild mismatch between our ancient wiring and the modern world we live in.
God, that is so true.
Yeah. She talks about how classic addictive substances like opioids, alcohol, nicotine, cannabis have been engineered to be much more potent and more accessible than before. And they've also invented new addiction substances that didn't exist before or weren't as accessible before. Online pornography, social media, video games, online shopping, online gambling. We've even taken things that we think of as good for us and turned them into drugs. In her case, reading. And the changes that can be seen in the brain with drugs and alcohol are the same changes they see with behavioral addictions. So you do a brain scan for somebody who's and I was that was very humbling to me, where I was like, I get the distinction between having an opioid addiction and having a TikTok or a digital media addiction. I get the difference. But I also was very humbled when I heard, the impact on the brain. It's the same. It's addiction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So an important concept that she unpacks is the pleasure-pain balance. The pleasure-pain balance is a metaphor that she uses to sort of depict how we process pleasure and pain. If you imagine deep in your brain, you have a scale, like an old-timey scale. And when we experience pleasure, that scale tips in one direction. And when we experience pain, it tilts in the other direction. But the brain always wants to return to baseline levels of dopamine. It wants to return to what is known as homeostasis, because we can't constantly be in a state of bliss. We have to come down as a matter of survival to look for the next reward. In caveman times, it's how we stayed alive.
Yep.
And in fact, the brain will bring us down past the baseline in a process called neuroadaptation. And when that happens, we're back in that place where we need our next reward. And that can feel like the hangover, the come down, the moment of craving, wanting to watch one more TikTok, just like 10 more minutes of TikTok, or to read one more comic book, or play one more level of a video game, or, oh, I just want to have one more beer.
Yep.
So that's, a little how we got here. She shares 5 key qualities that make something addictive. One is access. Can you place a bet or purchase a romance novel with a swipe of a finger? How very accessible. Quantity. The more we use of our drug and the more often we use it, the more likely we are to get into that dopamine deficit space. Potency. How strong is the drug, and how much and how fast the dopamine is being released all speaks to potency. Over time, we develop a tolerance, meaning our drug stops working at the current dose and we need more and more to get that same effect. So it's not 15 minutes of scrolling, it's 30 minutes of scrolling, it's 45 minutes of scrolling. Novelty. Our brains are sensitive to anything that is new in the environment, and novelty is a way we can overcome tolerance. So with the algorithms, it's almost like a slot machine effect where you're staying on longer and longer in hopes of seeing something that is as entertaining or more entertaining than something that I saw before.
Oh, man. But this novelty thing too, is this also the reason why everything is constantly being updated and changed? It drives me crazy. Like, just to update my phone, I'm like, I don't like these changes. I don't like what you've done here. And it's just a constant, like, they think it'll be slightly more entertaining if like all the little buttons pop when they,
Right.
when they show up on the screen. Is that part of the novelty too, and addicting us to our phones?
I could only speculate, but I have to guess yes, because think of the phone that you had 5 years ago or 7 years ago. If you looked at it now, you might be like, it looks so quaint. It looks so boring.
Yeah.
And they keep giving us, oh, now the buttons look like bubbles. Oh, now, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I do. And it drives me bananas. I want to be like,
Nana wants her old phone back.
yes. I'm just like, well, only because everything is constantly changing. And I'm like, can I please just log on and use my computer or my phone for one day without being like, oh, nope, stop everything. This is going to update. And now you're going to need to get used to this.
Yeah.
If it's not one thing, it's another, Susan, said Grandma.
Okay, so back to 5 key qualities that make something addictive. We've got access, quantity, potency, novelty, and number 5, uncertainty. Rewards that are less predictable are far more reinforcing than rewards that are guaranteed. Anna Lembke talks about how compulsive gamblers are not addicted to winning money. They get as much dopamine from losing as they do from winning. They are addicted to being lost in the world of the game.
Wow.
This was an aha for me.
Wow.
I became addicted to being lost in the scroll.
Wow.
For a period of time, not feeling my achy joints and fatigue, but mostly not feeling, because as Brene Brown taught us, you cannot selectively numb.
Is it like a cousin to being in the flow state? Because the flow state seems like the positive version of that.
That's a great observation.
Oh, I'm not feeling great, but suddenly I go on stage and I'm like, I'm not sick for the next 90 minutes. And I come off the show and I'm like, oh, I do still have that cold that I had, but when you're in that flow state, you can forget about all of that.
Yeah, I love that question, Laura. I don't know the answer to it, but I bet a good neuroscientist could tell us what chemicals are being released in our system when we go into flow state. That'd be a good spark.
I'm going to call Dr. Dan Siegel.
That's awesome. You got him on the speed dial.
I do. Hey, Dan.
I also want to share what Dr. Anna Lembke shared. This starts getting very usable and feeling very important. 5 soft signs that you might have a problem with compulsive overconsumption or addiction.
Oh, this is useful.
She recommends you be honest with yourself. If a friend or loved one comments on your behavior and suggests you might have a problem. I know my husband was like, how long you been taking and talking? Another one, the lying habit. You may minimize your use to yourself and others. Are you like fibbing about your use? Mental health symptoms. Are you experiencing anxiety, depression, inattention, irritability, insomnia, or worse? Consider if there is a hidden relationship between your psychological suffering and this behavior. In the moment, using your drug of choice feels good, but compulsive usage that feels good in the moment tends to make us more depressed or anxious in the future. This one really gets me. Opportunity costs.
Oof.
Asking myself, what are the things I'm not doing because I'm spending all my time doing this thing? In my case, the cost of using digital media is my lived time. And if I added that up over a day, a week, a month, a year, the opportunity cost starts to get very steep. She poses a question that now I pose to you, which is, do I really want to look back on my life and realize that I spent a high percentage of my time scrolling on digital media?
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
And finally, a soft sign that you might have a problem is if you experience a sense of terror at the thought of stopping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That'd be a big indicator.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She then, it's not all bad news. She then shares a plan to help us reset our dopamine. She asks us to begin by asking ourselves, what do I turn to when I'm tired, stressed, or bored? What do I turn to when I'm tired, stressed, or bored? What do I do more than I intend? What do I hide or feel ashamed about? What leaves me feeling worse after, not better? So, those are questions you can ask yourself to determine if there's a little drug of choice that's being used.
Wow. Wow.
Then, once you've identified your drug of choice, it's good to quantify your use. She recommends look back 1 week and see how much you've consumed on any given day.
Smart.
And after documenting the quantity and frequency, we should consider why we use. She said it's usually boils down to two things, either to have fun or solve a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem could be something like depression, insomnia, boredom, loneliness. In my case, I think I was trying to counter my illness and the fatigue.
Yeah.
So trying to feel better, trying to
That's
solve a
right.
problem.
And it was something you could do that didn't actually exert a lot of energy.
Yes.
You could lie in bed and do it, even though you weren't
Yeah.
doing anything. But
Here's a performance art project for you, like a film of some performance artist has to have done this. If you just filmed me in that bed still, but my thumb just scrolling
Yeah.
and scrolling and scrolling for hours on end.
Yeah.
And then just put that in a white gallery and play it in real time on a loop.
Well, it's that movie Wall-E, like,
It
where
is.
it's all the humans are just, down to just like this little movement.
Yeah. Just being fed nutrition pellets and just rolling around in their little wheelies.
Mm-mm.
But where were we? Oh, yes. Dr. Lemke then asks us to list the problems associated with our use, which could include things like, I feel worse afterwards, or my attention span is dwindling, or my drug of choice is not working as well as it used to. And then we can try an abstinence fast, also known as a dopamine fast. Dr. Lemke says we need to abstain from our drug of choice long enough so we can return to homeostasis. She quantifies that at about 30 days. She says it takes about 30 days not only to return to homeostasis, it also takes about the same 30 days to begin to feel better.
Wow.
She encourages this reframe. Instead of thinking of it as, I'm denying myself this reward, think of it as, I am giving myself a gift. Although this drug of choice might feel good in the moment, it's hurting me in the long run. For myself, Laura, I think of it as giving myself the gift of freedom.
Yes.
Freedom from this attention economy system that wants to mine my mind,
Yep.
that wants to convince me to buy shit I don't need. Freedom from this scrolling mold that wants to bore wormholes into my brain, that wants to pacify me and tell me what I should think about things. To me, that reframe is I'm giving myself the gift of freedom from this bullshit.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes to that.
Before your dopamine fast, give yourself time to prepare. Let your loved ones know what you're going to do so they can provide care and support, especially in the early days. Let them know that you are going to feel bad before you feel better, because in the first 2 weeks, you are indeed going to feel worse before you feel better. You can count on feeling the universal feelings of withdrawal. Those feelings can include anxiety, irritability, insomnia, depression, and craving. But if you hang in there, it will get better. You might want to give up after 2 days or 5 days or 9 days. And you might think, I was unhappy using my drug of choice, but I'm even unhappier not using. So forget it. I'll just go back to using.
Right.
I want to reach out to you and tell you, I felt this. I remember saying to my husband about 1 week into my dopamine reset, I just want to want something.
Oh.
I wanted something to want.
Oh, that makes me feel sad.
It is sad. It is
Mhm.
sad. But she says, although you will feel worse before you feel better, if you can hold on for 14 days, you will feel better. And again, I'm here to tell you the discomfort of withdrawal will ease. You will feel better. You will. You will. You just have to hang in there. She said it's really important to know what your triggers are, write them down, and think about how you can reduce triggers in your life. So if you're addicted to video games, you might want to delete gaming apps and the trigger, stop watching online videos of other people playing video games. Dr. Lemke said she realized listening to pop music, I actually understand this, listening to pop music was a trigger for her with romance novels. So she had to set aside listening to pop music during her dopamine reset. Here's why I related to that. I don't know if I'm off target, Dr. Lemke, not that you'll ever hear this, but when I read Twilight, the feeling that it gave me was a great feeling. I felt like a teenager again.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you feel like high school?
I felt like high school again in the best way. And I bet pop music, I bet she was like, I feel like a teenager again.
Oh, yeah.
Just a guess. I'm not Dr. Anna Lemke, nor am I her therapist or confidant. Dr. Lemke also encourages planning out if-then alternatives. If I have a craving for X, I can do Y. If I have a craving to scroll TikTok, I can crochet or paint with the watercolor set on the counter or start a conversation with my husband or meditate. Oftentimes what I actually needed was rest. That's what I really needed, not scrolling.
Interesting.
Or I could play with my dogs. She said it's very important to prepare this in advance because in the throes of desire, we are basically helpless and we need to have a list of alternatives.
And isn't it funny that that list that you just mentioned are things that I know you want to do? They are the things that you'll lament not having any time for.
Yes.
And like in this case, you're like, oh no, this is the time that I have for them. I have the time that I used to spend on social media.
Ding, 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 ding. Dr. Lemke also suggests something called self-binding strategies because we cannot rely on willpower alone. These are barriers we put between ourselves and our drug of choice so we can press pause on consumption. Things like space, getting our drug of choice further away. So that's deleting apps so they're not on our phone. That's if you're addicted to cigarettes, running water over them and then throwing them away so you can't smoke them. Another self-binding strategy is time. The 30-day dopamine fast is time. Another one, this got me, is meaning. Reflect on how we are using and whether it's in line with our values. With digital media, she asks, would you feel comfortable handing over your smartphone and letting someone browse through everything you've visited in the past 24 hours? If not, maybe rethink if the use of your drug of choice aligns with your values. Now, for me, I would be fine. I'd be proud to hand someone my phone. The content I browse, it's all like rescue dogs and artists and recipes. What doesn't align with my values is that I am a person who champions creativity and values freedom. And I am not creating because I am compulsively scrolling. That does not feel creative or free. That does not align with my values and meaning. And that, if I let it, could be a source of shame. I'm choosing not to be ashamed about it.
That's right.
But I could be. And the last self-binding strategy she presents is people. We can regulate our consumption based on who we're hanging out with, peer recovery groups, a sober social network, an accountability partner. So that might be a friend like Laura, or, if you're me, if you're
Susan.
Or my husband, relying on people and being honest with people about what I'm working on, right?
Yeah.
100%. Additionally, to regain balance, what we need, I thought about you, Laura, as I was writing this. What we need is not more comfort and more pleasure. We need to seek out things that are hard and reinvest in things that are challenging, like exercise, meditation and prayer, cold exposure, like just a little cold blast at the end of the shower, listening to people we care about, like really getting present and listening and doing these things, even when we don't feel like doing them, even when it feels boring. Dr. Lemke talks about how she engaged with a 30-day dopamine reset in relation to her romance novels. After 30 days, she spent a weekend binging romance novels, went to work on Monday, again, bleary and exhausted, realized the 30 days weren't going to cut it, so she abstained for an entire year. And she noticed that she became much more present with her children, her husband, her patients. She started feeling better. And she stressed the importance of this because, again, she had not previously made the connection between her drug of choice and her worsening mood and anxiety. And here's the kicker, Laura. Here's the gag of it all. Giving up her drug of choice allowed her to reinvest that time, energy, and creativity into things she really cared about. And she rediscovered a whole realm of creativity that she would not have previously discovered, including writing her book, Dopamine Nation.
Wow.
She said she wouldn't have undertaken writing that book had she still been involved in her drug of choice. If she hadn't kicked her romantasy habit, that book would not exist. And instead of talking to you now, I might still be addicted to TikTok. The creative work you make matters, people. It matters.
It matters.
It matters. Yeah.
My God. And that book has, like, people have gone crazy for it. It's exactly what we all needed.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Dr. Lemke stresses recovery is not a straight line. She would not recommend this for someone, again, who is at risk of life-threatening withdrawal from alcohol, opioids, etc. Those folks need to seek medical attention. She also recommends that if you have tried repeatedly to stop using your drug of choice, repeatedly and unsuccessfully, you may need to seek a higher level of care. But for commonplace, milder forms of compulsive overconsumption, taking a break for 30 days can be enough to begin to reset your neural pathways. And I'm here to tell you, it worked for me. I'm just one person. This is just one person's experience, but I have been off of TikTok for quite a while now. And I feel like I have my brain back.
Yay.
And I just saw a headline in this morning's New York Times. Europe accuses TikTok of addictive design and pushes for change. This morning, regulators released a preliminary decision that TikTok's infinite scroll, autoplay features, and recommendation algorithm amount to an addictive design that violated European Union laws for online safety. The service poses potential harm to the physical and mental well-being of users, including minors and vulnerable adults. The European Commission said in a statement. The article went on. TikTok said it planned to challenge the findings through every means available to us. I'm sure you will, TikTok. I'm sure you will challenge those findings.
I'm sure you will.
But the brain you rot will not be my brain, and the attention paid will not be mine.
Yay.
So, to recap, if you are ready, we invite you to identify your drug of choice by asking yourself, what do I turn to when I'm tired, stressed, bored, and I'll add sick? What do I do more than I intend? What do I hide or feel ashamed about? And what leaves me feeling worse after, not better? Track your use for a week, pick a start date, tell someone, write down your triggers, create your if-then plan, choose your self-binding strategies, and remember, you will feel worse before you feel better. You can find all of this in Dr. Anna Lemke's book, Dopamine Nation, which I highly recommend. And I'll close it out with a little, what do we make of it? What do we make of it? We make freedom from these man-made, super addictive systems and substances.
Yes.
And with the time and energy and creativity we buy back, we make whatever the fuck we want. If you're Anna Lemke, you write a book. If you're me, you paint, or you pour it into your relationships or your business. You exercise your freedom.
You make a life.
You make a life. IRL, baby. And that is my spark.
Oh, I love it, Susan. I think this spark is going to help a lot of people.
I hope
do.
so. I know it was a long one, but it felt important.
It was a good one, and it is important. And it's so good to have you back, not just from TikTok, but, from all of it.
Oh my God, friends, I'm back. And that's it. This episode of The Spark File was made on the lands of the Lenape and the Mohican people. And as always, we hope this put another bunch of sparks in your file. Listen, if there's a spark you'd like us to explore, or if you'd like to learn more about how to coach with us to accomplish your creative goals, you can email getcreative@thesparkfile.com or even reach us through our website, thesparkfile.com.
We will even happily take your feedback, but you know the price of admission. First, you have to share a creative risk that you have taken recently.
You can follow us on social @The Spark File, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and 5-star review this podcast. It really helps other listeners to find us. And if you like this podcast, we hope you'll share it with people that you love. And if you didn't like it, You didn't like it.
You didn't like it. On the other hand, if something lights you up and gets your creative sparks flying, we're writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that's been knocking at your door. It's your turn to take that spark and fan it into a flame.
You know, you got to take it
And make
make
it.
it
Make something, y'all. Make a life.
IRL.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I wanna make or how I wanna be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hello and welcome to the Cheese Wheel Podcast, your new favorite podcast about hyperfixations gambled on a wheel. In this podcast, we are covering anything that we want to talk about, but the problem is we don't know what we're covering every week, and it's something new every time. And I am joined by two of my co-hosts, Andrew DeWolf.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
And Liz Eston.
Hello. Also very happy to be here.
And this show is weekly, and every time someone else brings something to the table that's a little bent, we're going to be covering anything and everything, including Chaperone's new album, Spy Kids, and the film version of Waitress. We're going to have a new episode every Friday, and you're going to see the vast arrays of interests we might have. Andrew, what might be one of your choices?
Oh, I mean, I could pick something like, I don't know, famously bad movie, Miami Connection, and we could have a good time watching something that I love that's kind of terrible. Or I could pick something incredibly good, like Jacob's Ladder, which is my favorite movie of all time.
Incredible. And Liz, what about you?
I don't know. I could go with something like a Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, so I can talk about my favorite comedy, since Jess didn't let me do it on the old podcast.
Well, funny you bring that up. In case you're wondering what happened to Musicals with Cheese, we ended that show, but the show's still here and living on in season 1. So if you want to go back and listen to our backlog, that's still here. But right now, we're just the Cheese Wheel. Please keep on listening. We got a lot of fun stuff to come, and we hope that you like what we're doing.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.